Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 to Narcissism and Manipulation. So we decided to make a second part to this video because it is such a strong subject for us and we want to go into a bit more detail of it, and we feel like this is not a small thing. This is like a big thing that a lot of people are affected by on a regular basis, and we want you guys to be able to see these videos and learn how to cope with, heal, and identify narcissism and the trauma associated with it.
So yeah, hopefully our experiences can help you avoid these situations that we personally have experienced. So let's roll that intro and we'll get right into it.
All right, so one of the big things that we're going to touch on is, as part of the victim of narcissism, is trauma bonding. Okay, and that is an unaware need to satisfy the narcissistic person, seeing them happy because becomes like a consistent thing for you. The faster you become aware, the faster you can leave all of this stuff behind you.
Mm-hmm. So a narcissist relies on charm to hook people, whether that's like verbally, physically, and in most cases it's physically. They'll like look a certain way to their prospective victims. They can use like physical and verbal means to keep people hooked on them for long periods of time without looking suspicious, because they incorporate these charms into their natural behavior. This is actually kind of exactly what happened to me. I'm just like a lot more aware now of his crap, and I can now distance myself from him in the past and just the whole kind of situation. I think it's kind of normal to feel stupid or like you had been played, because I definitely felt that way after everything and after finding out everything, and like I think we even said in the other video, like you question like everything. You question if you're good enough, if you're say pretty enough, or I don't know, handsome enough, or like you wonder, you go to stupid things like, am I too short, am I too tall, or are my eyes not blue enough?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely question everything about yourself.
Yeah.
And meanwhile you should be questioning everything about them, but because of the way that they put it on you and the way that they act, you're not suspicious, you're not triggered or anything by their behavior. You're simply just constantly in a state of like questioning your own means, whether or not you are good enough.
Which is so messed up, because like it's, I don't know if it is, but it feels like it's like a mind game that they literally like planned right from the beginning. And then it goes even after, like if you're not together anymore, it almost feels like it goes quite a ways after you're not together anymore. And it's like, the only reason that happens, though, at least in my case, was for validation. And like I said, felt extremely stupid once I was more aware, found out, like I'm glad I'm more aware. Mm-hmm. But I hate that it took a while to figure it all out. But now that I have, like, it's so weird, because it's a totally different feeling that happens once you you put all the pieces together, you figure it out, you figure out that it's a certain way, you figure out that they're a narcissist manipulator using you for whatever, like I said, in my case, validation. It's weird. It's like a relief, but also kind of like really disappointed and disheartening. Also, it's disappointing and disheartening because they don't give two flying fucks for you or how you feel.
Yeah, so, pretty much never did from the start.
No, exactly. And even though they like show, or you think that they show that, and you might think, hey, it might get better, it's just the beginning. Yeah, no, it kind of stays the same, and like they'll try and do better, and you'll think it's getting better, but something like I don't know if it's like trigger them, But like, I don't know if they have it like, if it's like clockwork or what, but something will just either piss them off or like they'll do something, whether that's physically or they'll like emotionally or like they'll just say something that might cause a fight or something to scare you so that, or it's almost like they're again taking from you, like say they tell you something that's quite serious, and whether it's true or not, it's still a serious thing. They tell you this, you worry about them, therefore like they're basically, they're not reassuring you or anything, they're literally taking from you when you're like, oh no, it's okay, or like you're like reassuring them, you're, you know, it's almost like they come up with all these things, whether they're true or not, and they like exaggerate it and just like throw it at you so that you, I guess, give more caringness. I don't know how to explain it, but like you do that, and then they just fucking take it and run with it, and then eventually somehow the next day they're fine, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like it was a huge thing yesterday, and now you're fine. Like it's all about them. It's all like on their time frame. Like if they say are mad and they can't, you know, they say they either they say they need time, but usually they don't. Usually they just like stop talking to you, and you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Well, they need to make you sit and stew on it. Right?
Exactly. And then they'll like text you back or whatever, and you'll be like questioning like, what the fuck? Like I thought you were just done with me. And for me, I okay, I did have that happen to me, but I at that point was just kind of like, whatever happens, because I was getting really fed up with his shit at that time.
Yeah.
And then you just get a text saying, I don't know what it, I can't remember, but just them probably saying like, hey, how's it going? What's up? And I'll be like, you're talking to me now? Why? And they say, because I wanted to. And I'm like, you just completely avoid like what happened. You act like nothing had happened, and when you bring it up, they're just like brushing it off. And and that's kind of a red flag there too. Like,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair to say that. Yeah.
If they're doing that shit, like,
yeah,
you know. But again, unfortunately, I was stupid back then, and now looking back, I'm never gonna ever let that ever happen again. None of that shit. Because like good people don't deserve any of that.
Same here for sure. I mean, for me, a lot of what I had dealt with was a lot of gaslighting and like manipulative means, and like being told what I already agreed to, or like you know, it's like, well, we agreed on this, and it's just like, I don't remember the conversation. Well, that's because you were drunk. It's like, you're always drunk. And it's like,
yeah, but why were you drunk? It was because of them.
Right? But there's always some excuse to guilt me into feeling why I don't remember these things, or like why there's always some sort of like guilt to make me feel like it's my fault that I don't remember this, or my fault that I don't.
It's always your fault or something.
And it's always like, you didn't do good enough, or like you didn't, like you don't make enough, you don't have enough, you don't, you know, like they make you feel like they're the ones doing you the favors all the time.
Yep.
And you know, the reality of it may be like, when you look third party unbiased, it might actually be more the other direction usually, where the victim is actually doing a lot more work and effort than the narcissistic manipulator, because that manipulator, he or she is trying to put in as little effort as possible to get maximum results for them. That's all they care about. They just want what they want. And if they're texting you saying, well, I just wanted to, well, because they want to, because they want something from you.
Exactly. Yeah. But you don't click that together at the time. Like when you're in it, I think the last thing that you're thinking is narcissistic, that they're manipulating you. Like, especially if they, again, I feel really stupid because, you know, at one point I was told they're very good at manipulating, Did I listen? No, because I was stupid, apparently, back then.
Trying to see the best.
I was trying to see the best, of course, because,
Yeah.
I always think that there's at least something good in everybody. And I did see a lot of good, but as I look back, I'm like, I'm sure there is a little bit of good. I'm sure there is, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And, but what I saw, though, I feel like was, like, of the good that I saw, I feel like maybe it wasn't genuine as much as I was hoping it was. And I just feel like, I don't know if it was necessarily like faking it, but it definitely wasn't fully genuine. There was just more to it that I did not know at the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like, even for me, I was always told, oh, that this person was bad for me and everything, and that they weren't good. And of course, I don't listen. I said, well, you don't know her the way I do, blah, blah, blah. These are all the good things. You just see this. And it's like, and then later you look back on everything and you realize that outside third party opinion was actually right. But, it's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of that, though. Like, that comes from having a non-bias, right? Like, that third party outside opinion is not biased. They're not influenced emotionally, so they don't see it, right? And so they see what they see. They don't have the rose-colored glasses syndrome where you are being charmed. You're the one the focus of their attention, and then so you're being distracted. Like, all of these bad things here, they're there, but the person has your attention over here, where they want your attention. So you're not noticing all these bad things because you're too busy either guilting yourself, trying too hard for something that's not worth it, or being charmed by their ways. Right?
Yeah, and like you don't, like at least for me, like you don't want to believe that any of these bad things is what they're doing, is who they are. Like you just want to believe that it's really good, and that person is telling you the truth, and that like other people are just kind of like
you get stuck in it too.
Yeah, but you know what? That's something I also learned too. Is like the people that really care about you are gonna like fully tell you the truth, even if it's a hard or a harsh truth.
Yep.
And I'm very grateful for actually who told me, it's it wasn't the best thing to do, and I'm very appreciative, very grateful for that. And I just kind of wish I would have listened sooner. But I just wanted to basically do the best I could to make it work, because I thought it was better than it actually was. And moving forward now, though, I'm gonna obviously listen to people and the really good people in my life, and actually take, it's not that I didn't take into consideration what they were saying, but I'm gonna be more so taking into consideration what they're saying, because the person that told me not so good was really right, really right, like spot on right. And
I do the same thing for me as well. I still try to take my own point of view into consideration and everything. But I also do, like, if people are telling me something, I don't just brush it off. I definitely take it to a little bit more heart, and at least criticize it as much as I can. For sure, Next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to quickly go over some...
Quickly? That's funny.
some of the identifiers that are associated with narcissistic personality disorder. These definitions are pulled from an official source, so you guys know we're not making this up. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is a grandiose self-importance. So, by definition, that is an inflated self-agitizing tendency is actually a coping mechanism the person with narcissism uses to deal with their inner feelings and low self-esteem. So, you guys, lots of people know that have dealt with narcissism. Looking back on it, they realize that a lot of these people's confidences and abilities are all fake. Okay, they're all designed to look very authentic, but at the end of the day, they're actually all very just like hard plastic shells that are...
Polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Exactly. There's no context in it, right? And so they become very fragile. It's like the difference between, a solid, rock and an eggshell, right? So these people will do things constantly to boast themselves. They will do things to, ignore criticisms because they feel like they're right regardless, so they don't need the criticism.
That bothers me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just ridiculous that they think that they,
Yeah,
are always right, even when they know that they're wrong. They do know that they're wrong.
Yeah.
They just
inside they know they're wrong,
but they just can't admit it, and it's just ridiculous.
It would be self-defaming, right? I've always lived on a policy when it comes to criticism to absorb that criticism and and then examine it. Okay,
Yeah.
so if somebody says, "Hey, you could do a better job at this if you changed your approach slightly," I can't think of a good example right now, but just a change of approach to better your communication skills. Like instead of coming into somebody's office and being like, "Damn it, Bob," you come in and be like, "Hey, Bob, how are you? I got to talk to you about something." Right? There's going to be a different approach, right? And that's what I mean. Now, analyzing that criticism, we all know that it's okay. You take what they say and you decide, you break it down. Is that good for me? Should I be doing that? Will it improve my relationships with my coworkers, my family, my friends? Will it improve my ability to do something? And if the answer is yes, use it. If the answer is no, why is it no? Obviously, you're still doing something wrong because somebody's criticizing you.
Well, the thing is, though, too, is like, even if someone is criticizing you, like, I get what you're saying, for sure, but sometimes, like, and that's where you have to be, like, aware and just, like, really think about it, because sometimes when someone is criticizing you, it's not even, like, you shouldn't be criticized for it. Like, sometimes you really didn't do anything wrong, but... Well,
and that's where a good idea of, like, perception comes into play. There's, when I say, like, analyze it, you have to analyze, regardless, is their perception of you validated, justified, anything like that? Because if the answer is no, just because they criticized you does not make you wrong. There are some perceptions out there that, will help you, but there are some that will hinder you. And everybody has their own perception, but that does not make everyone's perception right.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that, yes, it's important to be considerate to everyone. That does not mean bend over for everyone. That literally just means, because you can't do that. Like,
no, you just have to do what is right. Like, it seems so simple to say it, but it's true. Yeah. Go with what's
And a genuine self-confidence is going to help you affirm all of that.
Yeah.
This fake self-confidence that people have, the minute anything changes, or like things variations on things, whether it's plans, whether it's attitudes or anything, like the minute you take them out of their element, their comfort zone, their routine, it throws them right off. They usually respond with some sort of version of agitation or anger, and that can be as little as you had plans and they changed. And now this person is agitated or annoyed or whatever because they don't have the sense of self to redistribute priority. Like sometimes, okay, well, we were going to go to the movies. But now we've got to hang out with this family because they're leaving or something, and so we got to do this first. Okay, well, hang out with the family, go to the movies after, or go to the movies another day. The movie part can be changed. If you have family that are either leaving or if there's an event going on, that's a one-time deal. Well, prioritize that and then go do your movie. It's okay.
Yes, but I think family should always come first. Even if, say, they do live here, wherever you are, or, I think that whomever you're already hanging out with or whatever should respect that and be like, hey, is it cool if we go here first, or is it cool if we hang out after this first? It's not like it's going to take forever, and especially if you voice your opinion on it and tell them how you feel, most of the time people are going to like respect that, and they're going to be like, you know, they're gonna understand and probably be like, yeah, I won't be too long, and we'll do something after. But if you're already with them, just be respectful and understand that it's not all about you. And it's like, say if you wanted to hang out with your family or whomever, and you're with someone, I would hope you would explain and then just go and do it. But don't be like disrespectful to the person you're with and just like, you know, be with whomever when you're like, if you're going to hang out with your family, don't just stick with your family and like, like, you know, disregard how they feel or what they want. But
it's all open communication.
It is, but don't only think about yourself, which again,
open communication.
that's narcissism though, is literally everything about yourself. So
well, if you have open communication and you're a considerate person, you're gonna be fine. But if you're a narcissist, you have that sense of like self-importance where everything you want has to come first,
and there's no open communication with them either.
Exactly. You can't be like that. So that's the first sign of narcissistic personality disorder.
So then the next one is exploiting others. So it says, people with various types of narcissism don't mind using people for what they can get and feel no remorse, aka they are unempathetic. They are known to borrow money or other valuable things with promises to repay, but never follow through. This poor behavior often results in the person with narcissistic personality disorder having troubled relationships. So I have like experienced this in my situation. I mean, not the borrowing money part. That was never part of mine. I never had an issue with that. But the whole no remorse, like to get a narcissistic person to say sorry or even thank you is like, it's like pulling teeth, honestly. Like, you may...
Pulling teeth's easier.
Yeah, like you may get it like maybe once, but honestly that's pretty sad if they are only saying it once. And also too, when they say it, I don't overly think they mean it either. They're only saying it just to keep getting what they want. Also, the empathetic, or the unempathetic part is totally true. At least in my situation, that was a big one, a very big one.
Same.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why, like, there was a decent amount of issues, you know? It was really hard to, I feel it's really hard to get through to a person who is, like, unempathetic, who just is apathetic, I guess.
They do have a high tendency to be apathetic towards anybody's feelings or emotions.
Right. So, and that's kind of like what I dealt with, and like I said, at that time, I didn't really know what it was. But yeah, now it's just, it was bad, and at the end it says, like, you know, if they have this, it kind of ends up in having troubled relationships, which is totally 100% true, and in my situation anyway. Yeah,
well, you find these people, they're moving on relationship to relationship because whether that's friendships, family interactions, or romantic relationships, they find ways. They don't have these like long-term friends or anything, because they just, or if they do, it's very like surface level friendship, because they don't, these people, if these people were to find out more information, that would cause more issues for that person, more exposure.
Yeah, no, 100%, which makes a lot of sense with, like, it's very hard, like I said, to get through to these people and to try and, I guess, like, grow a relationship and get to know them and them get to know you.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's funny too, because, like, they don't overly, like, it's funny, they want to take from you, but they don't always really give two shits about you and, like, what makes you tick.
Yeah.
It's just more of, like, what can I take from you? And that's, like, what they try to find out. Yes, it's surface level, because if they only know how to work surface level, then that's probably that's all they get from you, right? So they figure out all the surface level stuff, and then, like, that's, like, good enough for them.
Yeah.
And so if you're a person, well, like me or you, who actually likes to, like, kind of dive deep and actually get to know someone and actually grow a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult. It's like I said, pulling teeth, pulling hair, both at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's hard, and it's really just disheartening and disappointing, and just like I can't even count the times, how many times like I would leave wherever we were, whether it be his place or wherever, if I was being dropped off or whatever. There was always a feeling of, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just an uneasy feeling that, like, is there something wrong? I don't know. It was a good day today, but I still feel like there's something wrong. Like, we got along fine and we're all good, but I still feel like there's something wrong. There's something there, and you can't figure it out until like after. That's the unfortunate part, is that you usually don't figure out that they're a narcissist until after everything's done, which is ridiculous. But that's
it's usually from like looking back on things that you figure it out in there.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this, so that we can put out like what has happened to us, so that hopefully, if this well, we don't want it to happen to you, but if it does happen to you, you can see these things before that, and then you can take control that way.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah. All right, next point here, guys and girls, and we're going to talk about entitlement. So the definition of that in terms of the narcissistic personality disorder is, regardless of whether he or she has earned respect or honor, a narcissist believes that he or she should have it due to their self-centered, conceited nature. People with all types of narcissism often look down on others with an inflated sense of self and view themselves as superior. So this, goes along with people who, a lot of times you see this with people who believe that they're entitled to something before they've earned it, or they're entitled to something from people that they do not know. You total perfect stranger, this person owes me that, and it's like, the person doesn't even know your name, man. And that comes down to like respect and everything like that, and it's they really do. They think that their presence in a room is a gift to these other people. In my history, in my experience, I have seen this where people literally think they walk into a room and people should just be like,
bow down.
Right, and it's not that way. A lot of people think that though, and like I said, my history and what I've seen, people have experienced that, and I've also experienced entitlement in different forms of like double standards, where they think, oh, well, I can do this, you can't, I can do this. I've had people tell me, oh, you can't talk to that girl because she makes me feel like insecure, but then she's off talking to like 3 or 4 guys. And my conversation with a woman has been totally innocent, talking about everything on, like our favorite TV show or the weather, or what happened on an event. And then you look at her conversations with these guys, and they're talking about her tits, and they're talking about her how she's pretty and how they want to like hook up with her and shit, and she's just laughing at it and like not saying, hey, fuck off, I have a husband or boyfriend or whatever. And it's like, who should be the one that's really saying, hey, I don't talk to that person, right? At the end of the day, these people, they think that they're owed, and they're owed without giving. They're owed without expectation of giving.
That doesn't work. Life, isn't, okay. Science doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I think it's really fucking comical that they think like this. Like, honestly, go get your brain fixed, because this is not how life works. This is not how it ever has worked, will work, does work, nothing. Like, it does not work that way. And you really need to go get help. Yeah.
There is a basic level of respect that you give to a perfect stranger.
Yeah.
There is a basic level of take from a perfect stranger, but there is nothing higher than that. Everything else after that is earned.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Like when you and I first met, it was, hi, my name's Robert. Hi, my name's Amanda. We're working together. We are going to talk and everything, but we are going to respect each other's personal space. We are going to respect You know, what I take, what I give.
Yeah.
And as we become better friends, respect grows.
Yeah, it all grew from that. Yeah.
Things grow and they evolve, but it takes time and effort from both parties. You're not entitled to that.
No.
Right off
the
bat.
Oh God, no, and
at all.
You can't expect, like, if someone's just putting in effort for, like, one person can't carry the whole relationship. Like, it's obviously, like, when you're a narcissist, like, that's how you work. But again, that's not okay. But it's just.
I saw a thing, and this was a long time ago, and I don't know why it just came to my head. But it was a post about like a narcissist, and it was a group of people, and they were all carrying this heavy thing. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a pillar or something. It was a piece of construction thing. Anyway, and the narcissist, everybody's like struggling. Everybody's holding on to it, and they're like, you know, you can see the weight bearing down on their face, right? And then in the group, there's one person there, and he had the facial expressions just like everybody else. He looked like he was struggling, but if you looked at the picture, there was about an inch between his hand and that whatever they were carrying.
Oh my God.
So he made it look like he was struggling like everybody else, but there was no weight put on him whatsoever.
That sounds like just putting on a mask. Like
that is absolutely
how they usually do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the narcissists are extremely good at putting on masks.
Yeah.
Again, that's...
But you looked at that and you thought, if you just were scrolling and you just saw it, you'd be like, oh, they're struggling. And you would have kept scrolling. You never would have saw that. There was a comment on the bottom that pointed it out. And that just goes to show, that's like, when you see somebody who is putting minimal effort in to get maximum validation out, and they're making it seem like it's such a burden. Like, this guy's face looked like he was struggling too. But obviously you can't be.
No.
I'm not struggling right now.
No.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly that like.
So no effort in, all expectations out.
Yeah, no, that kind of rings a bell, because, like, again, if I knew that, and I don't, it doesn't say in here that necessarily, like, that specific thing being a sign, but that totally is, because, again, I would put in effort, and, you know, his is very minimal, and it was almost like I needed to put in more. Like, I literally got in shit for one thing before, and it was something that, like, blew my mind, because I was like, this is not something you give someone shit for.
Yeah.
So, with this thing, I'm not gonna, like, give a bunch of details on it, but I for all things, I pretty much went out of my way for things, but this one, I was unsure, and, like, I just wanted to basically be reassured that I was welcome where he was at the time. And I did say that, not in those words, but they weren't, like, mean words. And because I was unsure, like, I was so unsure about it, because I kept feeling uneasy, obviously, because of the narcissistic manipulating behavior. But I just wanted to know that I was welcome there that day where he was, and I literally got in shit for that, and he was, like, saying it was, like, my fault, that I somehow it became my fault, which I was just, like, taken back a bit, because I'm like, how the fuck is this my fault? How, you know, by me explaining and telling him how I felt at the time and what I needed, apparently turns into my fault. And I think that's a point that you're dealing with a narcissist and or a manipulator, when you feel that, like, honestly, whenever you feel that icky feeling in your stomach, and just, like, something is just off, and you constantly feel that,
trust your gut.
Yeah, trust it. Like, I wish I would have trusted it, like, sooner, and just would have, you know, comprehended it better. But I'm really happy that I've finally comprehended it now, and that, you know, I don't have to deal with any of that anymore. So
well, your point you just made actually goes really well into our next definition too, which
so
segues nicely.
The next point is empathy is lacking. It does go very well. So it says, no matter how much pain or embarrassment a person with narcissism causes, it is unlikely that he or she will show any compassion for the person who was hurt. Rather, narcissists only feel extreme self-focus and relish in the discomfort of others and use those situations to manipulate vulnerable people. 100%! That is completely like my situation, like right there.
That's
that was
exactly how you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was reading that when you were talking, because I was just like, I just caught this, and I'm like, this is spot on.
It does. Like that was probably the majority of my situation was that, and like I think like every narcissist like is probably a little bit different. Like some things might be more prominent than others, but it doesn't mean just because like they don't have every single one doesn't mean that they're not a narcissist. So, but yeah, that one fits extremely well. It was definitely always like, always extremely focused on him, on his, like how he wanted things, how he feels, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like when he would show it towards me, it just didn't fully feel genuine.
Yeah.
And again, that's when I felt something's off. Like, I don't know if it was necessarily forced, but it just didn't feel real.
Didn't feel right.
No, it didn't feel right. Like, and that's why I would always like question and dig, because I was like, I gotta figure this out. But no wonder he wouldn't tell me, wouldn't go to therapy, nothing, because let's be honest, what narcissist wants to be known and called out and feel like a narcissist? Like, and fair enough, but then fix it. Go get help. Like, if you don't want to be that, but unless, I don't know, maybe you do want to be that. Yeah, maybe you do want to be that. Then that's honestly so sad for you. And I was going to say I feel bad for you, but what's the fucking point? You're going to just say it's my fault. So
yeah, no
like,
point. Yeah.
There's no point. Like I'm sorry, but eventually it becomes a waste of life, air, effort, everything, and they're just kind of dead to you, I guess.
Yeah. There's situations where I feel bad for people, and then there's ones where I just cannot justify feeling bad for them, because everything they do, they not only put it on themselves, but they also like want to be in that space for some messed up reason.
That is a messed up reason. Like, it's honestly a mental disorder that you need therapy for. Like, okay, it I don't know, like for me, I don't know why they say that like narcissism is something that like you can get help for, but it doesn't, I've heard it won't ever just fully go away. Why that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can get help in order to mediate it and cope with it so that you can actually live a good life. But again, I think the big reason maybe why it doesn't is because a lot of the time they're probably happy in it and they don't want to get help, and they think that it's normal, and I think that like all those things, like even more things put in there, is probably why you can't fix it, is because I mean, how do you fix something that you're like, no, it's totally fine, when it's really not? It's absolutely a mental illness that really, I don't know. Like, some of it is just blows my mind. I'm like,
yeah, that's fair.
And it's sad when you like actually care for somebody that has it, and they don't give two flying fucks. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, they absolutely don't. Every bit of that care is one-sided.
Yeah. It's literally a double standard, which I don't do. I can't see. Like, it's just.
No, for sure. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's the preoccupation with fantasies about power, brilliance, beauty, ideal love, or unlimited success. These fantasies are more than a teenage daydream and can indicate mental health issues. A person with narcissism often has delusions that he or she possesses some great quality that others cannot obtain or even begin to understand. They may fantasize about a famous person being secretly in love with them, When someone calls the narcissist's attention to the fact that these feelings are a fantasy only, they become very offended and play the victim. The belief that only people who have the same superior traits can understand them.
That kind of makes sense.
It's
But
very delusional.
Yeah, very delusional. Just, I always wondered why I'd be told doesn't want me to understand. Shouldn't, like, I couldn't comprehend that. And now it's like,
Because you lacked the traits to understand.
Apparently.
No.
But I understand it just fine right here.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. It's like, I understand it. I really do. But it's almost like they don't want you to understand it. Like,
no.
It's like, if they told you this, you'd be gone. And because their shit is so fragile, that would break them if you left. And that's why they leave first.
Well, here's a parallax for you. Maybe they don't think you'll understand their superior traits because maybe they don't even understand how to explain them themselves and they're just full of shit.
Oh, 100% they're full of shit. 100% they're full of shit.
You don't understand why I'm superior to you.
And I'd be like,
translation,
you
are dumb.
You are dumb. You are not superior. Nobody is superior to anybody.
No. Everybody's good at something. Mm-hmm. Nobody is good at everything. And in a collective, everything is done because everybody brings something different to the table.
Right, but it's just like, yeah,
one person cannot do that. You do not hear about a one-man like society.
No, but just because you think that you are really good in one area of your life does not make you superior.
No.
You know, there's always going to be someone smarter than you. There's always going to be someone dumber than you. There's always going to be someone prettier than you. There's always going to be someone uglier than you. There's going to be all this stuff. So, like, who the fuck cares? Just be a good person. Treat people well. Leave the rest.
Here's the truth. Okay, if you are better at something than other people, like, let's say you're better at, I'll use something relatable here though. Let's say you're better at photography than people. Okay? Here's the truth. That does not make you superior. It makes you, by responsibility, it makes you a mentor. Okay? If somebody has a passion for photography and you are an experienced photographer, you have a privilege and an honor to offer mentorship, to take your knowledge that you spent hard time earning and pass that on to the next generation of photographers or whatever trade you're in. That is your job. Okay, you are not superior to the person who doesn't know as much as you do. You are responsible to grow more knowledge and pass that information off. It is the biggest things you need to do in life is get a mentor and be a mentor. Okay, those are absolutely important.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
A successful life.
But the narcissist is not going to do these things. What they do is they knock people down because they think that they're superior. As opposed to growing themselves, they want, like, if they're here and you're here, instead of them going, well, I need to learn and get there, they go, get down here. Yep. That's what they do. And we've both had that happen to us. And absolutely. But because we understand what had happened and everything, like, we obviously, like, if they did knock us down for a short period of time, we didn't stay down. No. And that's obviously their we have genuine goal. Confidence. Yeah, we have genuine confidence, whereas they don't. It is. We worked hard to be that confident too. That was not something that an overnight fix. Either. Yeah, we definitely work hard, and that's the thing. They don't like to put effort in. No, they want now. They do, and that's, I think, why a lot of it's fake, because they feel like being, like, fake is easier, and living in misery is easier. And it might be easier, but it's a very, like, empty, depressive, horrible, lonely life. Yep. They don't understand that the best things, the most rewarding things in life are hard. Okay. Yeah, you have to work for it, like. And so, like, they take this easy route for easy results, and but you get low value with easy results. Yep. What's
You look at you look at what's better. Let's say you live in the mountains, okay? What's better, sunrise or a sunset from in the valley or at the summit of the mountain?
Summit of the mountain.
Which one's harder to attain?
Summit of the mountain.
Exactly.
But it's still worth it. Like,
it's absolutely worth the effort to get there.
It's just, yeah, like, why would you not want to put in the effort? Like, it's just, like, I that's the part I don't get. Is like, you could have the best life. Like, most of the people that have the best lives is because they put in effort towards the things that they have, like whether that be money, relationships, material, non-material things, like confidence, like we said. Like once you put in that effort though, like, I mean, okay, you still have to put in that effort, but like once you put in that large amount of effort at first and growing up there, you don't have to do that again. You just have to maintain it.
Yeah,
and
you start pulling the rewards.
Yeah.
And maintaining. So like you're still giving back, but you're not having to. Like,
Like,
you look at the most successful people in the world. You know, they're not. You know, they didn't have a get rich quick scheme.
No.
They didn't have some sort of fall into wealth ass backwards because they just did something once.
Right.
The most successful ones, what you don't hear about is like the work they put into it behind it, because they're not going to sit there and brag for validation of it. So but they will tell you, it's like, yeah, it's hard work. They put in the time.
But like I said, all you do, because like once you put in that work, I mean, and all you have to do is maintain it. It's because like you put in that hard work and it's like building habits, good habits, I guess. Like you are used to it, so therefore maintaining it isn't that hard. It's almost natural. And I feel like a lot of these kind of people here, like they don't comprehend this, they don't understand this, they literally think that their way is better, when really the real actual easy way is through hard work. Because like I said, like once you put in that hard work, you don't have to go back to that. When you're a narcissist and only doing like the lazy easy parts, you constantly have to go back to it. It's a constant cycle, whereas like the other way, you're growing because you've done the hard work for one thing, you're maintaining it, you move on to the next, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and like who wins the game? You know, if let's say you're playing soccer, and who's winning the game here? The guy who's running, who's kicking, who's back and forth, end to end, putting in that hard effort. His team's going to win over the team who's just walking there, muddling the ball along with their feet as they take steps, right? Yeah, you're both playing the same game, but the other guy who's putting in that hard effort, he's going to win he's going to win. He's going to have
one way,
he's going to have the victory under his belts because he put in the effort.
100%.
Because they give it everything they've got.
Even if it takes a little while to get that effort, you will, or not effort, sorry, that good reward basically from it. It will come. It will happen. You just have to stay consistent and keep going. Even when it's hard, you have to keep going. Like, it will come. Sometimes it's unfair on the timeline when it'll come. Trust me, I know. But it does come. It does happen. As long as you put in that hard work. Like, hard work always pays off. Always. No matter how long it takes, it always pays off.
Absolutely. And you even look at what we're doing with this channel. Like, I hope one day to be looking back on these videos that we're doing now and just being like, that's where we started and this is where we are now, and it's amazing. But it's not because we fell ass backwards into it and got lucky. It's because we put in the drive, we put in the effort to get these done.
Yeah, it's something that we do also enjoy, and like I think that plays a part in it too.
Well, when you find things that you're passionate about, it's easier to put the effort in, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's not like work, it's just fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the last point we have here is haughty or arrogant attitudes or behaviors. So it says, these behaviors are much more than someone acting in a snobby manner. A person with narcissism truly believes that he or she is better than others and often takes offense when others try to communicate with them as an equal. Wow, okay. Again, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it hits home hard with that one, because you talk to narcissistic people and they constantly, they're looking down at you. And if you try to like put them level,
oh my god, you're
such an asshole for doing that.
You get like so much attitude and like, holy shit. Like it's ridiculous. Like it's literally a child having a tantrum. It's almost like they've never grown up. It's like yeah, it's almost like they're grown, like their body's grown, but it's like a fucking 5-year-old in a grown ass body is literally
Yeah.
what it is. Like you cannot talk any sense into these people.
Yeah.
Like they're babies in adult body.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And you know what? Like and it's so interesting that a lot of the times like you see these people that are like that and how angry they can get now. I mean, and they get angry.
They get so angry. Oh
Like,
my god.
Yeah, like I've seen people that are like 4'11", and oh my god, you're 4'11" and you talk down to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay? Bitch, you're not even tall enough to ride Splash Mountain. Get back in line.
That's good.
You have to like, but they get so mad. They're just like the minute you disagree, and you could be totally respectful about disagreeing.
Oh yeah, or call them out, or
Yeah.
Question anything. They literally just have this. It's weird. It's really weird how it goes down.
They'll either get super stuck up, or they'll play the victim. Like nobody ever listens to me. But I'm always right.
Usually,
nobody listens to me.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that of the victim for sure. For
That,
sure.
or a little bit of that high nosed like you don't know what you're talking about. Just totally dismissive. Like I know more than you.
Yeah, like it was like always dismissive, but it wasn't like vocally said. It was just very much in action.
It's very much like you would say something and you'd probably get like something like this.
Yeah, it was slightly and a little bit passive aggressive, but that was when.
That's what I got a lot of.
Yeah.
I'd say something and I'd get this and idiot.
See, and that's horrible. That's no. And I mean, I didn't get exactly that, but
Dude, mine was so bad. I probably could have said 2 + 2 is 4 and would have been idiot.
Okay, I don't think mine was that bad,
But
it was still bad.
In different situations, yeah.
It was.
And that's why we're going over all of these too, is because you're not going to get them all. Okay, odds are the narcissist in your life is not going to possess all of these traits equally.
No, but if they possess like a good majority of them, I'd say, like.
And they may possess them all, but in varying amounts, right? Like you may see exploitation as a high level one, but then lack of empathy as a low level one, and vice versa. There's a million different ways to mix this up.
Oh yeah.
And that's why we're going over it. I want you guys to be able to step back and go, okay, let's look at the situation here, and then like approach it respectfully. Like don't just go to your person
and be like, hey, I know you're.
It's like I watched this video on YouTube and fuck you. Okay, like
do your research.
Do your research.
Really
this is a great place to start.
Yeah.
We're speaking from our experiences here. I'm not a certified therapist, but we're speaking from the experiences that we've had and how we relate to them. And like if you relate to these things, then you should put some motivation into doing the research and taking action for yourself.
Yeah, like that's what we had to do ourselves as well. And I mean, thankfully I had him to help me out.
Well, and she's been so helpful to me too.
I think too, like do your research, and then like if you don't have anyone, then unfortunately that's just the way it is. But if you do have someone that you can like talk to and like that has an idea about it, then I would say definitely like confide in them and make sure you can trust them, that they're going to actually be there and help you, not use you or exploit your shit everywhere. But yeah, you really do have to put in the work. If you don't, then you might make a bigger mess of everything. So
yeah, you're either gonna make a bigger mess or you're just gonna sit and suffer longer, and it's gonna be even harder. The longer you sit in this, the harder it is to bring yourself back from the issues that you're gonna find with it.
Yeah. Like even for me, I had to like sit with all of this, not even knowing for like a year before I met him, and then like since then we've been, figuring out, working on it,
picking it
apart, and thank God we did. Yeah, it took a while, unfortunately, but I think these kind of things, like dealing with these kind of people, it unfortunately does take a while. I mean,
Yeah,
you were married for like 9 years. So.
Yeah, and you know
Can I say
what?
that?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like even for myself, you know, it was a long-term relationship with long-term issues, and you know, I'm sure everybody can say this, you know, and I'm sure everybody's gonna. It's like, you know what? Nobody's perfect in a relationship. I'm
No.
sure I made my fair share of mistakes, but
Me
you know
too.
what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix. I do. I like if I think I'm lacking in a way, I'll work on it.
Mm-hmm.
If I think that I could maybe reel it in a little, go too much, I'll work on it. And if I make mistakes, I will work to better myself in the future, and that's what people can do. Nobody here is perfect. We're not expecting anybody to never make a mistake. It's not a mistake if you learn from it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you learn from it, if you make like an effort at doing things right, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
totally fine. Okay, and with all of that said, with all of that being there, it's like all this stuff it takes time. So don't give up on yourself.
No.
Just continue to work at it, chip away at things.
Yeah,
do
it's
what
just
you can.
like it is really, really stressful doing that. Like,
Sure.
it's funny. Like I hadn't like experienced migraines ever until all this stuff like came out. I guess in the open. I didn't get a lot of migraines, but yeah, it's so stressful to the point where I ended up with a few migraines. Didn't know why, but now I figured them
right?
out why I had them, and you know, but as much as the migraines sucked and all the stress and all just god awful.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly I wouldn't go back and do it again. I wouldn't, because it was awful. But I am grateful that like for everything that I've learned and how much I've grown. Like, holy hell, like it's almost like, I don't want to say, but I do. It's like almost like a blessing in disguise. Like, again, like I said, I would never do it again.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, me neither.
It is horrid. It is awful.
I catch wind of that, I'm running the other way.
Oh, me too.
I'm going for the hills.
Me too. Once you've been through this crap and dealt with these kind of people, it is just like, it's like you're living in hell afterwards. Like, you don't know during, but you know afterwards. And like,
it's like you kind of like the blindfold gets taken off and you realize where you are, and you're like, oh, where's the fucking exit?
Yeah, like it's so much, and like, oh my god, like honestly, like I don't suffer from depression, but I think I've had depressive states because of that. And like really stressful days, like you've seen them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, we've both seen them for each other, and you know what? Like, it's like I have depression, and it's just something that I live with, that I work with. Like, for me, my thing to cope with my depression is passion. That's my antidote for depression. So if I keep my passions going, and if I keep doing them, then I'm good. Mm-hmm. And like I recognize my symptoms, and I do things about them, and I make them go. I go through like an analytical process to make sure that I'm actually handling it. I'm not just using my passions to ignore it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
don't ignore.
When I do kind of go through that analytical process, and when I'm coming out of it, like my passions they help as a pick me up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of motivates me to keep going and everything, and like, but don't use your passions to ignore anything.
No, and I've seen progress in you.
Yeah,
like,
and I've seen yours
a
too.
lot.
Like, we're both
like a lot. Like, we're like not the same people we were back then. Like, not at all.
No.
Like,
not whatsoever. And you know what? 3 years from now, we're not going to be the same people we are.
No,
today.
but we're just
awesome.
But we're way like better, way more aware, way more educated. Just way like we've gotten better in all the areas. And like, it's just funny though, because once you start like digging at all this crap, or like digging at the people or whatever to fix the issue, it's funny how all this shit just go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I believe when you get closer to the end and like you're almost done with this shit is when that happens, and then it'll go. Yeah. It's like basically it gets.
It's like de-weeding a lawn, and then like at the end of the day, you're just laying in the nice grass, going like.
Right. So basically, though, like, right. Okay, it sounds weird, but right trumps wrong. And usually it's like, what, love trumps all,
Anger.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
greed.
it really does, and you just have to keep going. You just have to keep pushing because, again, good people, right, and love and all of that, it is going to win. Just be honest and be completely yourself and transparent, and it'll be okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
And have good support too. That's very important.
You too, for sure. And you've helped me a ton with everything that I've been going through, and like that's support system is absolutely huge. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for you, and you know and I want to give that all back to you too. Like that's a give and take. That's like what you need, right? Is like you've given me so much, and I've given you so much.
Yeah, nobody's taking. It's equal.
Like I just kind of look at it as like if you can find yourself in like a give and give situation, that's even better because like, I feel like it's more like what you and I are. Like you give to me without any expectation,
and you give to me without any expectation.
Yeah, and I give. So it's not like you're sitting there going like, okay, here you go, Robert. Here's this thing.
Now give me all this.
No, give me all of that. We're not doing that to each other. And like looking back on like everything over the last like 3 years, it really has been more of like a. Like I give you this, you gave me that, but there's never like a hey, do you remember when I gave you this?
Oh like, no, like we're not keeping score of like at all. Like there's no reason to, and like
don't keep score.
But that's kind of what I found. There was some of that too. Was keeping score and
you can't do it. Like the only time you keep score, and this isn't keeping score, it actually feels like it, but it's not. If I say like if I come to you and I say like I'm $100 short, and let's say you're on a budget, and you're like okay, I can give you $100, but like I need it back because I'm on a budget. That's different. Do not mistake that for keeping score. That's totally different. But if I say, like, if I come to you and I say, here's a Sephora gift card. You didn't ask me for it or nothing. I just
it's the kind out of the kindness of your heart, for sure.
I can't go back to her a month later and be like, hey, remember when I gave you that $50 gift card? You're buying dinner. No.
That's horrible. That's not true friendship. That's not a relationship. That's not anything. That's narcissistic and manipulative.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do things from the kindness of your heart. And if
you got to be Canadian. Every time you go for a Timmy's run, you got to buy your buddy a coffee too. You can't get yourself a double on a rip without giving him a double, right?
Yeah.
But you have to do all these things, and
it's part of being a good person and like actually caring. But like I said, a lot of narcissists, like if they're only about them, I don't think they know what it feels like to give to somebody else when they're always taking. It's not something that they've ever done. So, and if you're older and like, well, usually I guess narcissists are older, but if you're only used to the one thing, then that's all you're going to ever do. Unless you want to change it. You're an adult now. You should be taking responsibility for yourself and bettering yourself.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? Like with that, any damages that you guys have that are like emotional damaging that you guys have, it's not permanent.
No.
Okay, you guys can work through it, and you can get better in it. At the end of the day, it's all about your awareness to who you are. Like you have to look inside. You have to take that trip through yourself and figure out where you need to work on things and where you need to fix things and where you need to forgive yourself and where you need to let things go. Like all of that stuff is important, and it's through awareness that you achieve that.
For sure, but like for me. That is all very true. But I had to do the work to find it because I'm someone that needs the answers before I make a decision because I don't want to accuse somebody of something that they're not. And unfortunately, it did come back this person being a narcissist, unfortunately, sadly.
Well, I remember you tried every avenue to not make that.
Because I wanted just to make sure that it was. I didn't want it to come back as that, but I was just making sure that I knew where it was before I made a concrete decision.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put in all the work and everything, again, to make sure. And also, I live with, like, no regrets. Like, honestly, I really do, or no regrets. Just kidding.
Not a single letter?
Not a single letter. But yeah, I didn't want to have regrets. You know, I wanted to try and everything, and again, make sure that I am right on my answers, my hypothesis, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, and then finally, it just kind of all came together. Not overly in the most positive way, but it came together, and it is positive for myself because I'm now free of the hold, the control,
you're no longer like tethered to it.
No, and it's funny because it's not like I was necessarily trying to be. It just does that. It's really weird. It just, like, you're just, I don't know if hook's the right word, like it is like that, but it's
like trying to paddle a boat without realizing the anchor's down.
Exactly, like you're stuck, and like for me, like, I don't like feeling stuck, so I try to figure out why I'm stuck, and that's why I go through all the avenues, everything, and do my best to, like, whether that's make it work, figure it out, you know, just so that there are no regrets, because living with regrets just kind of is shit. And you know, the people that are going to be living with regrets are probably going to be the narcissistic manipulators out there, because, you know, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to care or realize that they're regrets, because
at the end of the day,
it's all about them. They'll be like, oh, I'm good, you know, I did everything that I wanted. It's all their fault, when it's really not the other person's fault. Like, it's really not, because narcissists go for really good people. And vulnerable.
They go for givers.
They go for givers. And I'm like, how the hell can they say that it's our fault when we're the good people? You know, and they know that we're good people, or else they wouldn't come and take from you. They wouldn't be going after you. So for them to say that it's our fault is ridiculous, and and I don't know, naive, and just downright fucked up. And you don't need those people in your life. You're better off without them. Once you can figure out for sure if they are or aren't, then make your decision to either stay or to separate yourself. And you know, but sometimes they'll do it for you because they wouldn't be able to handle it if you left them. And so that's why, again, it's a control thing. They have to have control. So if they do it first, it's their control.
They made decisions.
Under their control.
They tried.
Tried.
Tried. It's just the way it is, though, and you just have to hold your head high. You know, you give it your best effort. That's the biggest thing. So you put every effort that you have into something you do. If it doesn't work out, you can walk away with your head held high because you tried.
No regrets. Everything.
Exactly. So.
And that's why I feel like myself again. As much as I thought I felt like myself back then, and afterwards, I really didn't. It's just kind of recently that I finally 100% feel like myself.
You got that weight off of you.
It's so gone. Like, I feel like I could fly. Just fly away.
Well, that's awesome.
It's good.
That's what it should be.
Really good. Alrighty, so with all that being said, we hope that you liked our video. It's probably kind of long just because it's a big topic. But we do hope that it has helped you guys, that we gave you some really good tips and ideas to figure it out if you have similar things you're dealing with in your life right now. So anyway, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons down below, as well as the notification bell, because it helps our channel grow a lot and we really appreciate it. And I guess we will see you in our next video. We might do equality video.
Yep.
Let's see. Or it could be a part 3 of this one.
Yeah, we may do part 3 if we feel like we need to add more. We might do equality for sure, and we'll go from there. Comment below any topics you guys want us to touch on. If there's anything you guys feel you need another perspective on, throw it in the comments. We'll read it, and if we can relate to it, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. So remember, keep it simple and stay humble.
Bye.